Welcome back to the Passage Unlocked, where we attempt to unlock the Bible one verse at a time. Today we're going to be diving into an incredibly comforting and powerful verse from the Old Testament found in Zephaniah 3, verse 17. This verse to me points out a vivid picture of God's love and commitment for His people. Now let's take a closer look at what it means for us today. As we read the verse, it says, "The Lord your God in your midst, the mighty one will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing." This single verse here gives us a glimpse into the immense love God has for his people, his power to save, and his delight in his people's lives. Let's break down this verse kind of phrase by phrase and hopefully understand better the richness of these promises. The first phrase here said, "The Lord your God in your midst." This first truth that we find here is that God is near to us. He isn't simply some distant deity observing from afar. He is in the very midst of his people. Now, for the Israelites, this meant that God was both present and accessible to them. For us, to me, it seems it is a reminder that God is actively involved in our lives. In the world that often seems isolating, God's nearness brings us comfort and assurance. As Jesus promised, "I am with you always, even unto the end of the age." Matthew 28 and verse 20. We are never alone. The second phrase here said, "The mighty one will save." Here we see God's power. He is called the, quote, mighty one. This here to me emphasizes his strength and authority over all things. But this might isn't just about showing strength, it's about salvation. You see, God uses his power to rescue his people. No matter how dark or hopeless things may seem, God is mighty to save. Whether we're facing spiritual battles or struggles with sin or just simple challenges in our daily life, we can rest in the fact of knowing that God, the Almighty, he's a God of deliverance and salvation. The third phrase we see here is that he will rejoice over you with gladness. Imagine this. God is up there in heaven looking down on us, rejoicing over us. Often we think about we worship God, and in doing so, we're giving to God. We're giving him worship, and that's rightly so. But you see, this verse kind of flips that script over and shows that God himself is also rejoicing over us. As children bring great joy to their parents, so we delight God when we do right in his sight and in his presence. God takes pleasure in you and me both, and this is an humbling and awe-inspiring reality. In the fourth phrase we read, "He will quiet you with his love." In the noise of life, God's love brings peace. This is a deep and personal thing, and to me, it's calming us, like God stilling our anxieties. This gives us kind of a picture, like a parent who holds a crying child and comforts them until they're calm, or maybe even in some cases until they pass off into sleep. This heart that God has for us is really there, and no matter what worries and fears we carry with us, God's love is big enough to quiet them down or to bring peace to us. As the psalmist said in Psalm 46 and verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." His love will quiet your hearts in times of trouble. Now the fifth phrase, "He will rejoice over you with singing." Not only does God rejoice over us, but he does so with singing. Imagine the creator of the universe singing out with joy over you. This imagery shows us that God's love is overflowing. His love isn't just an obligation. It is joyful, expressive, and full of life. You see, God celebrates over his people. This should remind us of our worth in his eyes. When we feel unworthy or unloved, let this verse remind you that God is singing over you with joy. So what does Zephaniah 3:17 mean for us in our daily lives? Let's look at just a few applications of this. Number one, we embrace God's presence. Because God is with us, we can walk confidently in every season of life. Remember that no matter where you are or what you're facing, God is in your midst. Take time and invite Him through your daily prayers and let His presence bring peace to your heart. Number 2, trust in God's salvation. Our mighty God is mighty to save. Whether you're struggling spiritually, facing external challenges, you can always turn to Him. Just lay your burdens down at His feet and trust that He has the power to deliver and to guide you. Number 3, rest in His love. Allow God's love to quiet your heart. When worries creep in, just take a moment to pray and remind yourself of His love. Let His love be, as it will, as a shield around you, around your mind and heart, to calm every fear. Number 4, celebrate your worth in God's eyes. Knowing that God rejoices over you with singing should fill you with a sense of value. You are precious to Him, so let go of the feelings of worthlessness that we have at times, or even doubt, and rejoice in the truth that God delights over you. To me, Zephaniah 3:17 is a powerful reminder that God's love, strength, and joy oversees us every breath, and that gives us confidence in Him.